This meeting is from Comcast. Doesn't Comcast call it? Doesn't Comcast call it? This one runs it.
We're hosting it. And it's been posted, what we're doing.
Did it make it sound better?
I don't know if I got to start or I'll wait till. What?
Michael Eater.
What's your name, sir?
Michael Eater, E-D-E-R. S. Start on time.
No, we got another minute. By my watch. I think you can hear me in the control room. Would you tell me when we're going to start? Well, welcome everybody. Tonight we're having the Comcast annual meeting with subscribers. And I want to go over bringing the meeting to order. First of all, I'd like to explain what we're doing. According to license with Comcast, with the Section 3.6 service quality, in order to ensure that the licensee is responsible in a timely manner to all service quality complaints from subscribers, the following terms shall apply. The licensee shall convene one annual meeting each year of this renewal license between May 15th and September 1st to hear subscribers' concerns regarding customer service. The licensee shall be represented by the who shall be present at the subscribers' meeting to hear concerns. And we have Mary O'Keefe from Comcast that is here. A written report citing all complaints issued at said meeting and the licensee's response to said complaints shall be submitted to the issuing authority within 1 month of the meeting. The licensee shall ensure that the representative of the issuing authority can be present at all meetings. Customer service and all complaints shall be forwarded to the issuing authority through its Cable Advisory Committee to the licensee immediately upon notice of complaint. And I'd like to introduce the panel. I'm Kevin K. Lynch, Chairman of the Cable Advisory Committee. On my left here is Mike Eater, is a member of the Falmouth Cable Advisory Committee, and Mary O'Keefe, who is a Senior Manager of Government Community Relations, Greater Boston Region, North Central Division. By the way, the committee needs new members. We encourage anyone that's interested to apply by contacting the Selectman's office and get an application. We currently have 5 people on the committee is a 5-member committee. We currently only have 2 members. Just some notes on the current license. The current license was negotiated with Adelphia and was taken over by Comcast. It expired on 31 December 2009. The 2000 license is still in effect until the new license is negotiating. The town is, what is the technical word?
Preliminary assessment of denial.
Has been issued by the Selectmen, and we're continuing to negotiate the license. The negotiations are continuing going on in good faith and should be completed within a reasonable amount of time. Another thing, Comcast does not have an exclusive license to provide television services in Falmouth. Any other companies such as Verizon or RCN and satellites can, if they wish, provide television services in the town. The cable license only involves television services. Internet services and other services provided by Comcast are not part of the license. Tonight, viewers can call in comments and complaints about customer service. Please call, and put this number up, please, 508-548-96, correction, 508-548-9869. Your input will be written down and read into the record when our gentleman outside brings in the comment cards. This phone will only be used during the live cablecast of this meeting. Comments after the live telecast can be sent to the Cable Advisory Committee by written letter or dropping off at Town Hall. You can also call the town, and they will get you in contact with the Cable Committee. If they'll put this graphic up, Comcast customer service number is 888-XFINITY or 800-939-6489, and their...
Actually, it's 800 Xfinity,
I'm sorry.
and I spelled it out.
Okay. 800-XFINITY, 800-939-6489.
That number's wrong, too. I'll correct it.
Okay, we'll correct the number, and hopefully, could you correct it right now, so they can change the graphic?
How about, while Mary is correcting the number, I'll just give a quick background as to what the Cable Advisory Committee does. We're a volunteer committee. We basically consult with selectmen and help them on issues regarding the cable contract. We've just gone through a period ascertaining the town's needs in order to negotiate a new contract with Comcast. In addition, we have provided services to citizens who have issues. We often have, through Mary, an ability, if problems can't get resolved, to expedite them through Comcast. As this new license gets approved hopefully in the near future, we're going to be working more to help people with issues understanding what the cable service is about and helping as an intermediary for problems between citizens and Comcast.
And also, to contact customer service, you can go to www.comcast.com. And here's a correction on the customer service number. It's 800-934-6489.
That's not for tonight. Do you want to repeat the call-in number for tonight again?
And the call-in number tonight is 508-548-9869. Okay, we'll start taking testimony, and what I will like you to do is come to the podium because we are being televised, and so everyone can hear your comments, and please state your name. Do they have anybody who would like to speak now?
My name is Megan Jones, and I live at Sitters Pond Road in Falmouth. I would like to recommend that Comcast be required to hold a public hearing before they make any changes to the availability of channels agreed to under the contract. Several years ago, MSNBC and C-SPAN 2 and other channels were arbitrarily removed from our advanced basic service. When I asked why these specific channels were selected, a Comcast employee said that C-SPAN 2, which is a book review channel, was removed because few people in the viewing area read books. I also asked if it was legal to remove a public broadcasting station which is paid for by the taxpayers. If a hearing was required on these changes, I think these questions would have been answered. I would also like to recommend that Comcast be required to provide complete and accurate information on how existing service will be affected before installing new equipment. Also, to require technicians who install new equipment to be trained Comcast employees and not outside contractors, and to be fluent in English. When our stations were changed, we had to buy this box and this digital starter box. And the person who installed our box was an outside contractor who told us nothing would change to our existing cable service, and therefore he didn't need to give us any instructions. This turned out to be untrue. Together with many other problems, we no longer could record any program or put a program on pause, and we finally had Comcast remove the box. I would also like to recommend that Comcast provide public information on the location of the Falmouth Comcast office and staff it with knowledgeable employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have some comments on that, Mary?
One general comment about programming is that the issuing authority, the selectmen, have no control over that programming. It is something that is a decision, a business decision by Comcast, so the license does not require certain channels or certain packages.
Even if we signed up for a particular service?
Yes.
You
That's-
have complete control
Yes.
over changing that? So when we
Absolutely.
sign up for it, we don't really know what might happen?
Well, we do notify customers with 30 days advance notice, which is what the law is, of any changes, and then the customers can either choose or not to make that change in service to be able to receive those channels.
Would you consider having a public hearing on those changes, so you won't have people say that we are not a reading public, which is, this area has probably got the highest ratio of readers?
C-SPAN is actually federal government programming, so there may be some book programming on that, but that channel is still available, just in a different level of service.
But it was removed from the contract that we had with you.
It's not part of the contract, is what I'm trying to say.
It's just an agreement?
It's services that Comcast is providing, but it's nothing to do with the licensing or the contract or the town, so the town has no authority over that. So it's a business decision on Comcast's part to make that change. And part of that change, and there'll be more changes to come, are the expansion of our platform, of our services, of our launching more programming. So that was just a small step, and we've been doing that for a number of years. Like, right now, HBO and Showtime is required to have a digital box. So there are changes that have happened and will continue to happen as we're continuing to enhance our service to allow us to add more channels for our viewers.
So how do you know what your viewers would like to have?
Well, actually, when you call our customer service and request a channel, they actually have a template that they fill out with your information, with your request, in our marketing department.
Well, I can't tell you how many people I called, and I will say that some of them were actually quite helpful, but most of them were not. They did not know. I couldn't understand the English. One person told me that I was probably too old to be able to adjust the thing, because he said, now get down on the floor and you move this button and you do this wire and you do this. Well, I was too old to do that, and I told him I wasn't going to do that. And he said, well, then I can't help you. So I'm just saying that the customer relationship to Comcast, and when I got the survey saying what, from 1 to 10, where would you evaluate it, I had to give you a 1.
And we appreciate that feedback, certainly, and I'm going to take all of this information back to our marketing department and our customer service department, because it's important for them to hear that. We're not perfect, and one of the things that I was actually going to talk about today is our Comcast customer guarantee. This is something, in a sense, we're putting our money where our mouth is, and this has only been launched just a year ago, and I can talk more about that at the meeting, but we're trying to address issues of customer service that may not be, to the expectation of our customers. So we're really taking it to heart and trying to improve that across the board with all of our customer contacts.
Okay, so some way that we could tell you that perhaps some of us don't want 4 golf channels, and at the same time losing C-SPAN 2 or MSNBC news channels. I mean, I don't know why anybody needs 4 golf channels.
I wasn't aware that.
Well, the other day I tried to get something, and there were 4 golf channels.
Our sports programming is all grouped together, the sports programming.
Well, it may have been a special day, but
Could
at
be.
any rate, I think that was too many of that.
I will say one thing about the license. In the license, we can ask for certain groups of programming, such as sports, home shopping, kids programming. There are some requirements that they have to carry separate language programming and such, but we cannot say a specific channel, like we want news. We can't say that it will be MSNBC or CNBC or any of the other Fox News or whatever. And Mary is right about that. I wish it was different, but right now, the provider can decide what channels they put in which tier. We have anyone else?
Maybe just to expand on that a little bit, though, Mary, could you also explain the role of the Massachusetts, and for that matter, the federal government in terms of regulation? Because they do specify some channels you have to carry, don't they, at the Massachusetts level, especially if you're a regulated community?
Whether we're regulated or not, we carry, our basic service is the broadcast channels, and we're required by law, under must carry, to carry the Boston broadcast channels, because this is in the Boston market, the Boston DMA. We go above and beyond that and also carry the Providence channels, but that's also a requirement where it's actually a negotiation and an agreement with those Providence broadcasters. So we have an agreement. We're not required to, but it's a mutual agreement between ourselves and the Boston broadcasters. And then also on basic service are the access channels. And there may be other, home shopping sometimes, but again, that's our decision to include something else, but we are required to carry the broadcast channels.
I would mention that in the past, at these meetings, with public input, Adelphia and even Comcast has put channels in that people wanted. For example, the Providence channels sometime in the last, with Adelphia, were taken off, and we got them to put those back in, and Comcast has continued to carry those, and it's because they see that it's something that the community desires, and they will make those changes, so keep calling them up. And I would say that MSNBC, which I kind of like, and somebody actually complained about it when it came off. It was channel 59. It works if you have a cable box. It doesn't work if you have a cable-ready TV, which I have both. So when I want to watch it, my wife want to watch something else, I don't get to see it. So, but I would like to see that come back. And someone also mentioned that it was taken off because there was a political decision that they didn't want that, I guess it's a Democratic type programming, and for a political reason that Comcast took it out. I don't think that's so.
No, certainly not. No.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm with you. I think it was a political thing, but I heard that from a lot of people. Anyway, my name is Sharon Ross, and I live in Falmouth, and I have a couple of questions. The Xfinity that is in, it is said to be in Falmouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's not really the Xfinity package, as I understand it. When you read about Xfinity, we do not have all the things in Falmouth. We don't have basically most of the things in Falmouth that come with Xfinity. I used to live in Mashpee. Service was totally different in Mashpee. Okay, the boxes, the equipment, everything is more upgraded. It's in better condition. And what I want to know is, are they ever going to upgrade Falmouth so that we have better equipment? I've been back to Falmouth for probably a little over a year. I can't tell you how many DVRs, because they keep breaking. Their old equipment is what I was told. Okay, so I constantly have to turn them in, and the one I get doesn't work any better. Okay, so, but we do pay the same exact price as Mashpee, because when I came here, it was the same price. The Mashpee DVRs get a 15-day lookout. The DVRs in Falmouth get a 7-day. And again, they are old equipment. And I think what they do, and I've heard this from other people, is you bring back one that's broke and it'll probably go out to somebody else because they don't have enough. And then one day you go down there and they had none. So, I mean, that's one of my problems. It's antiquated equipment, but we're paying the same price. Okay, the second thing is we've been having a problem for almost a year since we moved back. We have had Comcast in, I can't tell you how many times. You could look up in the record, probably at least 10, 12 times. Nobody can seem to figure out what the problem is. So then the other day I get a Comcast person just knock on my door and say, "Are you still having the problem?" I says, "Yes." I said, "It's never gone away." And he said, "Well, now the whole street is having the exact same problem." He says, "They've been having that problem for probably a few months." that what was said was that the cable in the street has to be fixed because it's bad, but nobody would ever tell us anything like that. It was like it was all my fault, we were crazy, we weren't getting it, but it seems like the whole street. I mean, we had supervisors out, you can check that, and nobody would give us.
What's your street address?
6 Fordham, Fordham Circle, East Falmouth. I would just like somebody to tell me what they're going to do about it.
I can investigate that.
If you would, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Let me talk a little bit about Xfinity. Xfinity was really a rebranding of our products and services. And you're right, in Mashpee, we've gone through a process and transition to enhance our network, and we plan on doing that in Falmouth and the other former Adelphia properties sometime this fall, so we haven't gotten to this area yet. We have already increased our internet speed here as we have done in Mashpee, so that is the same, those options are the same. In Mashpee, we do have more high-definition channels because we've gone through this process. Right now, we have about 19,000 shows and movies available online. Xfinity TV, Xfinity Voice, and Xfinity Internet are the branding of the products and services. The other thing that you mentioned also was the guide on the box. We actually have an upgrade of the guide that is in the works, and that's going to change the look and the feel, and actually you'll be more familiar with it because it'll be more similar to the guide in Mashpee. So it will have those same details. It'll have, I'm just going to read from a list, color-coded TV grid, new faster loading on the on-demand menu, more detailed program information, improved search features, a convenient quick menu, which is a menu of shortcuts, faster navigation through the guide with the quick menu icons, easy access to high-definition programming through the quick menu, expanded parental control options, multiple favorites lists, additional channel grids, a message center, and also local weather available anytime within that grid. Now a little bit about the difference between Mashpee and Falmouth. When we inherited the cable system, Adelphia was using Scientific Atlanta platform. So it's the Scientific, or Cisco now bought Scientific Atlanta. So we have, a huge asset of all of that equipment. And the technology and equipment is different than the Motorola system that we have in Mashpee. I don't know of any plans that we have to change Falmouth and the former Adelphia properties to Motorola just because of the sheer, millions of dollars of equipment that's out there, and the hassle and the procedures to change out every single piece of equipment in every home. So maybe that will happen someday, I don't know, but at this point there is a difference. But we do continue to work with Scientific Atlanta to help improve the reliability and the services of the equipment, such as this guide upgrade that I mentioned. So yes, there are differences, and we're really working to make sure that we're trying to make those as transparent as possible and give the customers the best customer experience. So I appreciate your information, and I'm going to look up with the service manager at your street to see what's going on. You're welcome.
My question, well, with the system in Falmouth, is that state-of-the-art, or is it something less than that?
The system capacity is the same as Mashpee. 750 megahertz is the capacity of the cable system.
Okay, do I have anybody else? Well, I got some call-in here. One is Ed Sullivan, East Falmouth. Why doesn't Comcast Falmouth have a senior citizen discount like other towns?
I actually wasn't here 10 years ago to renew the last license, so I don't know what the parameters or the discussions were 10 years ago regarding that, so I have no information on that. So it was involved with license renewal.
Did we had that as a requirement in ascertainment?
Yeah, it's something we asked a question about and people wanted.
I believe part of the reason, too, was that Falmouth's rates pricing was a lot lower than the other Adelphia properties by a significant amount of money. So in a sense, everyone was paying less money. That's what I was told.
Here's another question from Peggy Supat. She called me today. Why did they move C-SPAN 2 for the basic tier in MSNBC? And it's the same question as C-SPAN is a government channel, and it should be free to the people. I think we already answered that, but you might mention it again.
Right, just equipment is required for that. And in the future, there will be a point where equipment will be required for viewing our programming. So we've actually just gone through it in Mashpee. All of our expanded channels require a converter box. So there's a process that we'll be going through. And we'll certainly be notifying the customers, quite lengthy information sharing regarding that. And MSNBC, it was an agreement with Comcast and MSNBC. We just didn't happen to pick that channel instead of Fox News. I know believe me, I know there was a lot of discussion and discern about why that channel, and it was a mutual agreement between MSNBC chose or allowed us to do that change.
Another one from John R. Thomas. I will not be able to attend the meeting tonight, so I've offered my comments by letter. I can understand Comcast eliminating CMT, C-SPAN 2, EWTN, Hall, MSNBC, and True TV from the expanded service which took over for Adelphia in order to boost profits. I cannot understand why they eliminated PBS WSBE in the menu when they duplicated programming on channels 7 and 15.
Similar, the WSBE, they actually chose to not be on analog anymore. It's available on digital. If you have a digital set with a comm tuner, or you had a digital box, you're still going to get WSBE, but they chose not to continue to be on analog, which means you can't get it without a box. That was their choice.
Anyone else like to come up?
Let me, actually, at this point, Mary, it sort of relates to this, as, prior to Kevin taking over as chair, I was chair, as you're aware. And there's a lot of calls I got, a lot of people are still very confused as to, what's in what packages cost, what they need to get digital service. Is there any way we can help clarify that? I know you've sent out a lot of stuff, but is there a way, one thing from the Comcast website to have a Falmouth page where you can just look at, and you've given me in the past grids that were very helpful in explaining what's available but like, for instance, to be able to see, I don't think a lot of people are aware that even the most basic service has a lot of high-definition broad programming and that kind of thing, and
Right.
how people can understand that better. And then also maybe talk a little bit more about, it sounds to me like going forward that everything's at the basic tier is going to start migrating towards a box in the future. Is that a correct statement?
Eventually. And if you were a Verizon customer, you need a box for everything. There isn't anything cable-ready. And one of the things that we'll look to do as we go through that process is we'll continue to add more features and services by being able to manage our network better that way. So that is the future.
So in that same line of that question, a lot of people are confused as to what the box costs and have a lot of misinformation as to that. So also to explain sort of what and I don't know if here's the time, but how to best do it. People
Sure.
understand how they get a box, what's included, what
Right.
channels are included, whether
Right.
they're digital. These
Yep.
are things that are still a lot of confusion out there.
Sure. We have a service center on Worcester Court down behind the building that has the conference table in it. And here's some information. Here's a literature that's available at the office. It's the price information for the town of Falmouth. And within that, it gives you very detailed information about all of the packages, the services, installation fees, Xfinity Voice, Xfinity Internet, as well as the TV. The price of the box is actually regulated by the state, and that's listed within this program, within this brochure. So this is available at the office. We also have a channel card that we update on a monthly basis. So this lists all of the channels and what package they're in. So you're able to look at that to see what's in the basic service, what's in expanded basic. We also have a family tier, which is a part, it has some channels that are in expanded basic, so we show you what that is. We show you what channels you get with Digital Starter. We have another tier called Digital Economy, and it lays it all out, and I actually have some of this literature here that you can take after the meeting. And then the digital channels on the other side, it lists all the high-definition channels, the channel number. So this is also available at the office. And I'm sure if you actually called us up on the phone and asked us to mail it to you, we would also do that. Information is also available at www.comcast.com. You're actually able to go in and search by your zip code, I believe, to pull up your channel lineup to get the channel guide information. But again, it's available at the office.
I also got a letter, from Comcast, and maybe you can explain this, and WJAR NBC, and I guess it's in Rhode Island, will be moving from Channel 15 to basic Channel 10, which is actually, I think, their station number.
Correct.
Channel 10.
Right.
But it also says WJ will continue carrying the same great program in a new location. A digital QAM tuner and cable card or digital toolbox is required to view it.
Right, so it's not going to be available on analog anymore, just like I mentioned, that when MSNBC and CNBC moved, that you needed equipment for it. So you'll need equipment for this also, as you said, a digital TV with a QAM tuner or a digital box.
So even though it'll move to Channel 10, some people may not get it?
Unless, if you don't have equipment, yes, that's correct. And I believe we're offering free equipment, a free box for 12 months for anyone calling in, requesting one for that channel move. What that's also doing is allowing us to launch the Falmouth government channel on Channel 15, where it is the same place, that's the same spot it is in the other towns, the former Adelphia towns. So part of that move was to be able to move the Channel 15, WJAR, to open it up for the government channel, and that'll be launching September 21st.
And what will happen at Falmouth will have a public education Channel 13, a education Channel 14, and Channel 15 will be the government channel. However, for probably once we put it on the air, will be a bulletin board, and as we go through negotiations with the contract and see what we can do, we'll actually start doing programming on that sometime in the future.
I think there's been talk about a QAM tuner TV, so people should understand that with the conversion to digital that happened with the airwaves now a couple years ago, all the signals over the air went digital. So now most modern TVs, you'd have to check when you get one, but most modern TVs will have a digital tuner and a digital QAM tuner, which basically allows them, the QAM tuner is the tuner that is compatible with the cable system. So you want to check that if you go out and buy a new TV, or if your TV has that, but those are typically built into most TVs these days. So if you go out and buy a new TV, you'll be able to just directly connect to the cable and get some amount of HD broadcasting and TV broadcasting, and then if you use the Comcast box, there then becomes an issue of whether you need to get a digital box for high definition and that kind of thing. But that's what people should understand when we talk about a QAM tuner. That's a tuner built into the TV for the most part.
And that's an acronym, it's QAM, commonly pronounced QAM.
And what does it stand for?
Quadrilateral amplitude modulation.
I have one other, I actually got, this is rather long, 2 letters here from Thomas S. Crane on Juniper Point, Woods Hole, Mass. He's got it, thank you for receiving comments about Comcast license renewal. Please accept this letter on my December 15, 2008 letter to the Selectmen attached in lieu of personal appearance on your August 26 public hearing. I ask that these 2 letters be made part of the record. For the following reasons, I urge the town of Falmouth not to renew the license because it is a company devoid of any interest or capability in customer service. While my experience in 2008 is self-explanatory, I want to briefly elaborate on my 6-week-long experience earlier this year getting my service at 39 Juniper Road in Woods Hole reestablished. As the following makes clear, Comcast service performance remains abysmal. In spring, I sought to reestablish my service. The service visit to hook up my line was scheduled for May 24th, at which time they informed my caretaker that a whole new line needed to be dug. I told them that I needed the service by Friday for the Memorial Day holiday weekend. They agreed to install a temporary line by Friday, May 28th. Not only was this work not performed as promised, but when I called on June 7th, after waiting a week not hearing from Comcast, I was informed that the work was on hold and no installation was scheduled. Please bear in mind that I cannot give you names of people I speak with because Comcast refuses to release full names, presumably so that no one can be held accountable. Not only that, she had no records at all of A, person coming to my house on May 24th, and B, temporary installation being promised for May 28th. I was then referred to Customer Care Associate, who was able to find a record, but she explained that she had no idea why the work had been delayed. I was then referred again to a supervisor, who again could not explain why no work had been scheduled, but the work needed to be referred to construction. I asked someone at Comcast to call me back who would be willing to look into these service problems and provide me with a succinct explanation on how all this could happen. She assured me someone would call, but no one at Comcast has done this. A company that cares about customers might actually find this a useful learning exercise. I have not kept notes on when the underground installation was performed, but the next significant event is that no one in the construction department spoke with the people who installed service to let them know that this work was done and that the department needed to hook up the lines. During one of these calls, a Comcast representative informed me that this is the responsibility of the customer, and in essence blamed me for not knowing that at the time the underground construction was scheduled the hookup. During this and another call, a Comcast representative simply hung up on me. In any case, on June 15th, I spoke with someone to schedule a hookup, but even though I knew the new underground line had been installed, they insisted this was not the case. After getting this information sorted out, they agreed to schedule a hookup for June 22nd. This was not done, but was finally completed a day later. In summary, the town of Falmouth would be doing an enormous disservice to its residents by inflicting Comcast on us for another contract renewal period. They have proven track record of complete disdain for the customer and should be rewarded with termination. And then he gives a phone number. The second one is to the selectmen.
I don't need to read it. I think actually the issue here I would suggest is we ask Mary how we talk about and how we as the Cable Advisory Committee can help with that, but what the escalation process is. How do people who are having problems and what role we can play to if people feel they're not getting answers. And I think the contract discusses that, and we have lines of communication. Maybe you want to talk to that, or I can, your choice.
Well, I certainly think in any circumstance, if you don't have that satisfaction with us resolving a problem or not resolving a problem, I would certainly escalate it to a supervisor. I have no problem with that. I want to make sure that everyone, internally needs to know that we're not doing the job we should. So that's important to me, that we make sure that we get the right information. I'm certainly hoping I'll get copies of all those, correct? And I'm going to present that to the technical manager so he has a chance to read that and that customer experience, because I think that's important, and we should use that as a learning opportunity to help continue to train our employees and making sure there isn't a disconnect, because that's concerning to me, that it took that long to get through that process for him. That doesn't sit well.
Right. I think also we've been talking amongst ourselves as the Cable Advisory Committee of working with the selectmen to improve our mechanism of how we can help people when there's problems like this. So we're looking to having ways to get easier access to us, but we are able to bring issues to Mary's attention and ask for resolution of them. So that's an important role we serve. So when you feel that you're not getting progress made with a problem, the next thing is to inform the Cable Advisory Committee, because we can then forward that right away to Mary, and Mary is usually very responsive and gets the problem taken care of.
Absolutely, because I'm not hearing this from the field, because I don't work in the field, but if that's a conduit that we can continue to use, I'm perfectly happy with that.
And I have to say that I, as the chairman, and I think Mike previously, would get a lot of calls about various things that weren't working right, and most of it involved calling the 800 number and getting lost in a loop, or, not getting the answers. And that used to happen to me also, and I would go down to the local service office, and things would get done there. So I suggest to anybody that's having a problem, go down to the local Comcast office, which is down on Worcester Court, behind the conference table in the back, and they're wonderful people there, and they get things done. I had one lady call me and said, Adelphia, she got rid of the service when Adelphia was running it, so it must have been 3 or 4 years ago, and it continually called Adelphia and Comcast to come and remove the wire that was hanging off her house, and she couldn't get, she called and called and called and couldn't get it done. I went over and told the customer service officer, and it was gone the next day, so they are good people over there.
Certainly are.
Do we have any more comments? Okay, we'll take this information, and we'll get a report from Comcast on it, and I thank you all for coming, and we'll close the meeting.
Could you tell us the telephone number for the Comcast customer service?
So it's 800-934-6489. That actually spells out Xfinity, so that's why it took me a minute to visually remember the numbers in the letter. So it's 800-934-6489.
There's another number, 1-800-COMCAST. Is that no longer?
That's still available too. 1-800-COMCAST. We have a call center in Plymouth. We have a call center in New Bedford. Those are the first places where the calls for video would be answered. We also have other call centers in the region, Malden and Manchester, New Hampshire, Chelmsford, Mass, Berlin, Connecticut. So those are the first places that the video calls are answered.
Could I just ask you to repeat, you were saying that everyone is going to have a box to receive the new programming?
There'll be more information we'll be distributing to all the customers in detail about this process.
When will that be?
I don't have a date on that yet. I don't have a date yet.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming.
I have channel cards and price information up here. Feel free to help yourselves. And